And now I ask Rebecca, how is that for you?
It's great.
If the client says good, I usually ask what would be better, and they almost always know. But great is great. And in this meditation we seek to go down to the bottom of the sea. We go from first contact where we may not feel any motility at all. We take off our street armor. We utilize our 7-second in-breath to move into fluid tide breathing. We begin to pick up the cycling of the cranial wave, which is from its slowest 4 cycles a minute to its fastest about 12 cycles a minute, which not accidentally is the common respiratory breathing frequency. Typically after 4 or 5 minutes we begin to enter fluid tide, which is from 3.5 to 3 cycles a minute. Where cranial wave is ordinary consciousness, reading the newspaper, talking to a friend consciousness, fluid tide is meditative consciousness. When we interact with the dream body in cranial wave, any corrections we might want to make to the wave will tend not to hold. When we dance with the tide at its slower registers in fluid tide, then our corrections tend to hold. Maybe suggestions is a better word, or correlates, or hints. When we've been in fluid tide for some period of time that might be as little as 2 minutes and as long as 30 minutes, we pass through what the Hindus call the gates of Kirti Mukta. The Kirti Mukta are stone lions carved at the entrance to many temples in the Hindu countries like India and Nepal. And it's based on an ancient story of the time when real live lions guarded the temple and were there to keep non-believers out. And so the story goes that after many years of watching people go into the temple and come out totally transformed, the lions applied to the temple master and said, well, we want to be admitted to the temple too. And then temple master said, well, then you must eat yourself, you must consume yourself. That is, you must digest your own ego and be without an ego. So today, carved stone lions sit outside many of the temples in the Hindu countries. They're the lions of Kirti Mukta, and they're to remind us to consume our ego and set it aside before we go in. You cannot take water to the temple if your bowl is broken. You can't drop down to the bottom of the sea if you're in egoic mind, in the need to impress people, to look good, to have prestige, to have self-esteem. You have to give all those to the lions. Give it all.